the director of the film Unknown Being, which I created for my graduation project for the fourth year of film school. This is a full year project that's designed to be about a 10-minute film. Unknown begins his journey in nature and we find he has a deep connection with it and is very drawn to the silence of the world and the animals and the trees. Starting there, he then finds his way into the city. I started the process through writing script, but with the script I felt it was hard to describe the images that I had in my head, so I ended up drawing each frame of the film, how I saw it, and with that I got a better sense of the visual progression and how the camera moves, and you change from these still nature shots into the bustling moving of the city. I relied on the actor Bijan Karim to bring himself into it, but himself as an empty vessel. And I worked closely with him as trying to get him out of his mind and into his body, using this as a way to reconnect him to his own body. So my film is a fiction film. It's scripted, it's storyboarded, but at the same time it's not that simple, because then I would go out shooting without any plan, with maybe just the plan of I want to go on the bus. So I would go out with him, with Bijan in character, and I would be the only one filming, and we would capture some really interesting moments that we couldn't do with a big crew. A lot of the film, some of my favorite parts were just from me going out with the sound equipment, with the camera, and capturing unknown just in the environment, in the city, and see what happens, and mixing that within the scripted elements that I had planned. It feels there's an element of reality that I wanted to keep, even though it is an alien.
Quite jazzed, God. I'm not actually from this planet. I'm from a planet where people come together to work. People do, like, each person does one piece of the work to come up with the whole, and then when we have time off, we don't blame each other and go around gossiping, complaining. We go and play in the sun like your children do here.
Now, the second half of the film takes a turn, and I'm not going to give away all the details, but there's other characters that come in, and there's a little bit more. This is where the script kind of came in.
So what do people do here when they don't have a place to sleep? Just on the street down here?
That's what they do.
Oh,
so I'm leaving out a little bit of the plot and different things that are really happening in the story, but I just wanted to show you that part, because of course that wasn't scripted. We didn't script someone with a cart that comes in between. This is just what happened. Someone was coming, they saw that what we were doing, they saw we were filming, and they didn't care, they just went through. The most interesting thing to me isn't the dialogue or the plot or the specific things that happen, but it's just the people in places and what comes, whether it's crows, whether it's people, whether it's a cloud that's shaped in a funny way. I think that the vignettes of the in-between is more important than the plot that happens, and I wanted to focus on that. And so in the editing, this is also the choices that I made. I added the interesting parts of the world happening instead of the plot points of oh, and then he gave him his jacket, and then they said that they were going to this place. I don't think those things are important. I think it's more important to just see people going and doing stuff, and you can infer that they had a conversation, that you can use your imagination to fill in the gaps.
That guy? Okay. I'll just be nice. He's in the same situation as us, man. That guy doesn't have a credit card. That's not gonna work.
You gotta go to the neighborhood where people have money.
One thing you might have noticed by now is that I only using long shots and not really cutting between back and forth between different coverage. That was definitely intentional. No, I always knew I wanted to have these long drawn out shots, and it gave me a chance to use things that weren't so planned. For if you have coverage, you need to keep continuity, make sure that the same plant that's behind you when the close-up is in the wide, and there's all these complications with that. But I just trusted my shots, and often even if I wanted to come closer and I wish I had some close-up shots, some more close-up shots, reaction shots, I just by trusting what the characters were doing, what the shot I'd picked, I was able to capture a cinematic language that you don't see often with today's audience of cutting every few seconds. And I definitely wanted to push myself in that way. And I think even though I do have quite a few long shots, keep people's attention with what is being presented in front of the camera. So the risk of shooting this way, of kind of being all over the place, not having a complete story from the beginning, and letting life interfere, is at the end you have all this footage and you realize, what am I going to do with this? And it definitely took a long time for me to actually find the story within it. And I finished shooting over a year ago in January, and it took about till last year February before I started, and then I was just editing, but it took it took many months for me to start to understand the footage. And then I made a cut, I even sent it out to festivals, I was quite happy with it, and I got into a few festivals. But I actually recently re-edited it again and added a few minutes, and only now finally do I feel like I actually completed a film and completed the story that I was trying to tell. Asking people for their feedback and getting mixed results. Everybody said something different, and I really didn't know where my film was at, and it took me editing it, finishing it, sending it to festivals, getting feedback from that, getting feedback from people, to getting away from it for a while, and then coming back to it and having a fresh take on it to really realize what the film is and was and what I really want to say with it. And I only finished editing today, but I'm much more happy with the final product than I've been in a long time.